Hi guys, welcome back to Chapter 8, Lesson 4, Factoring by Grouping. So, what we're going to do here when we do factoring by grouping is take a polynomial and cut it in half, and pretty much factor a GCF out of each of those halves. And when we do that, you're going to see something, it's kind of interesting here. Let's jump in and find out. Let's go ahead and do the problem 25x cubed plus 5x squared minus 20x minus 4. So like I said, we're going to split this in half. We're going to split it in half right here. And it's going to now become two problems. It's going to become 25x cubed plus 5x squared. And then the other problem is going to be negative 20x minus 4. So we split this polynomial into two binomials. Now we're going to work these binomials one at a time. So let's go ahead and factor the GCF out of this first binomial. So let's find our factors of 25x cubed. We're going to get 25x cubed, split this up to 5 and 5, and x cubed up to x, and x. Let's go ahead and factor 5x squared. When we get 5, we'll get x squared. 5 is already a prime number, so we can't factor it anymore. So we're just going to split this x's up. So they have a 5 in common, and they have two x's in common. Now, something I should have mentioned in the last videos, or the last two videos, about factoring out GCFs and finding GCFs, if you factor all of the factors out of something, you're going to be left with a 1. So our GCF this time is 5x squared, and what's left is going to be a 5 and an x. And since we took all of these factors out, we're going to be left with a 1. And the reason it's a 1 is, if we were to distribute this and work backwards, if we did 5x squared times 0, we would get 0 still. So we wouldn't get what we started with. That's why that 1 is there. 1 is always a factor to everything. That's why it's never written. And timesing something by 1 changes nothing. So let's go ahead and factor the second one. In the second one, they both have negatives. So we're going to go ahead and factor these out, remembering we have to factor out that negative. So we'll split up negative 20 and x, and from negative 20 we'll split this up to 1, negative 1, and 20. Factor 20 is 4 and 5, and 4 becomes 2 and 2. Over here, negative 4 doesn't have a variable with it, so we're just going to start off by splitting up the negative 1 and the 4, and factoring the 4 to 2 and 2. Now, they have a negative 1 in common, they have a 2 in common, they have another 2 in common, and they don't have any x's in common because negative 4 didn't have any variables. So our greatest common factors will be negative 1 times 2 times 2, which is negative 4. What we have left over is a 5 and an x. So we're going to have a 5x. And over here we factored everything out again. So we're going to be left with a 1. Now, you notice something between our two answers here, or at least I hope you do. They both have the binomial 5x plus 1 in them. That means you are doing it correctly. If you were to get different binomials here, that means maybe you factored something out wrong. Go back and check your work. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and continue here. And we're going to go ahead and rewrite our problem here. We're going to rewrite 5x squared, 5x plus 1, and then negative 4, 5x plus 1. Oh, I wrote over top of everything. I'm sorry. There we go. Much better. Hey, there you go. So, this is what we have. We're going to take this and make this into one answer, because this was two answers. We had this split in half still. The way we're going to get this is that binomial that we have in common, that 5x plus 1, we're going to write that once. That's going to be the first part of our answer. at 5x plus 1. And the reason we're only writing it once is think of factoring out 5x plus 1 from each of these and taking that on the outside. And what's left on the inside is just the two GCFs. So we're going to make that second binomial for our answer out of the two GCFs. This first one, 5x squared, and then the second one of minus 4. So that's our final answer, and we can check this answer by foiling. Let's go and do it. It won't take long. So we're going to go ahead and FOIL these out. We're going to get 25x cubed, and then we're going to get 5x squared from the 1 times 5x squared. Then we're going to get 5x times negative 4, which is negative 20x. And then 1 times negative 4, which is negative 4. And that's the problem we started with. It's always a good thing to check your answers, especially when you can. I don't know about you guys, but I love being able to turn in something that I know is 100% correct. So let's go ahead and do another problem. Let's go ahead and do 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 7x plus 14. Again, we're going to split this in half. I'm just going to draw the line right here. And we're going to go ahead and factor these. So 2x cubed is going to become 2, and x cubed becomes 3x's. We're going to go ahead and do 4x squared, which should become 4 and x squared. 4 becomes 2 and 2, x squared becomes 2x's. What they have in common is a 2, an x, and an x. So a 2, an x, and an x. So we get 2x squared as our GCF. And what's left on the inside, up here we have an x. And over here we have a 2. So let's work on this one. Factor 7x. Well, that just factors the 7 and x. That was pretty simple. It's factor 14. Again, doesn't have a variable, so it's become just 2 and 7. Of course, they have a 7 in common. So I'm going to put a 7 on the outside. And what's left is an x and a 2. Same binomial, so that means we've done this correctly. Now let's write our final answer. So we're going to get an x plus 2, and then we're going to get a 2x squared plus 7. Again, I'm not going to FOIL this out for you guys. You can do that on your own if you'd like. But this is the correct answer. It will work out. So let's go ahead and give you one to do. Let's go ahead and give you one to do on your own here. Let's go ahead and do 30x cubed minus 20x squared plus 6x minus 4. So let's go ahead and do this one. Take a second, work this one out, pause the video, and we'll come back and go over it together. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and split this one up right here. So we're going to factor 30x to the third, negative 20x squared. Now remember, we only worry about the negative if they both have it. So we're going to factor 30x cubed and just 20x squared. And just keep the minus sign between them. So this becomes 30x cubed. This becomes 3 and 10. This becomes 3x's. And 10 becomes 2 and 5. Factor 20x squared, we'll get 20 and x squared. 20 becomes 4 and 5. 4 becomes 2 and 2. X squared becomes 2x's. So what they have in common is a 2 a 5, and 2 x's. So 2 times 5 is 10. X times x is x squared. So we're going to get a 10x squared as our GCF. What's left for 30x cubed is 3 times x, which is 3x. And what's left for 20x squared is just 2. Oh, it's not plus 2. It's a minus 2. Over here, let's go ahead and factor 6x and 4. 6x becomes 6 and x. 6 becomes 2 and 3. 4 becomes 2 and 2. I know these are the really easy ones, but you guys like these. Take a 2 out, so you're left with 2 on the outside, and a 3x minus 2 on the inside. Now, are our binomials the same? Yeah. So that means that's the first part of our answer. So that 3x minus 2 is the first part of our answer. And the second part is going to be made up of the 10x squared plus 2. So again, work on the worksheets that go along with this and practice it. If you have any questions, get a hold of me, guys. Until next time, see ya.